we have to practice the first lesson. And the first lesson is, I am a soul. So we have to practice to be soul conscious. And Baba says that when I forget that I am a soul, then I become weak. Yes, so first thing is, you see, even if somebody listens to the class every day, it doesn't mean that they are really practicing soul consciousness, because attending the class and practicing are very different subjects. Yes, and the only method to change sanskars is through practice. So sometimes you see there is this thing that comes from BKs and the Brahmin family, that we understand everything, but we are not able to do that which we understand is the right thing to do. Yes, so you understand that you shouldn't get angry, or you understand that you should have patience, or you should be sweet and polite. But many times what you understand should be done, and even if there is a willingness to do it, you're not able to do it because there is the pull of sanskar. And these sanskars are a very tricky subject, because these sanskars of weaknesses and vices, these sanskars have been with us for 63 births, and overcoming those sanskars requires effort. Of course, Baba tells us that in Sangam Yug, it is certainly possible and also to a certain degree very easy to change sanskars, but not easy without doing anything. Easy when you do the needful. So Baba says, I am here, I am teaching you how to be soul conscious, I am teaching you how to remember me. And only if we do these things will our sanskars change. Otherwise, you see, there are many times we see that children are at least, they seem to be attending classes for very long, but the sanskar hasn't changed. And because of that, the sanskar keeps tugging at you. It keeps pulling you. And I will share one experience in this regard. There was this one brother, and he told me that, sister, so he almost attended classes for, I think, 3-4 years. And when it is an online, class, so we can only see that they are attending classes. Other than that, we can't see anything, right? So if somebody writes their chart, we read that and we know, okay, so this soul is in this practice, or this is how they are spending their day. Otherwise, we only see that they are attending classes. There is nothing else to observe, because when children come physically, you can see many things, but in an online interaction, you can only see their attendance. So I saw this brother, he was attending classes for 3-4 years, and then suddenly he stopped. And then when I asked him, he said, Baba is not helping me. So I said, so what kind of help are you talking about? So he said, I have a property that's a land, and that land has been grabbed by somebody, And ever since I came into Gyan, I have been asking Baba to, to help me get back that land. And now it's been 4 years and Baba has not helped me. So I said, but this is not what Baba said he will help you in. Baba said that he will help you in overcoming the sorrow that you feel because that land is grabbed, or the desire to claim it back. So I said, but why would I want that? So I said, because you see, uh, Baba tells you that right now the state of being that we are in is because of the way we conduct ourselves. Any soul with desires and attachments, they cannot have a happy life. So Baba is asking you to remember Baba and be soul conscious so that you can overcome the sanskar. So he said, okay, I will do all of that, but first Baba should give me that land. So you see, his journey stopped there, because every day in the Murli, Baba is telling you that you should remember Baba as your father, teacher and Satguru, right? But mostly because we have a sanskar of bhakti, and in bhakti we have remembered God as the giver and the savior, and not giver of love or peace, but giver of material possessions and attainments. So many a times, even when you come to Gyan, there are children who continue remembering Baba as the giver of material comforts and savior who pulls them out of difficult times and situations. And I have seen this happening with children, who have had a long journey also. They also don't understand. In fact, they are listening to the Murli, but they don't listen to the Murli. They have that old idea of bhakti that, Baba should fulfill this wish and this desire and change this situation. And even when you're remembering Baba with that aim. But do you know, Baba tells us that accurate remembrance pays off. And what is accurate remembrance? When you're soul conscious and you remember Baba as he is, not as you were taught in bhakti. So when that remembrance happens, only then the sanskars change. But if you are not soul conscious, if you are remembering Baba in body consciousness, or you are remembering Baba like you knew him in bhakti, then the sanskars don't change. And even if somebody is apparently on the path for 6, 7, 10, 20, 25 years, doesn't matter, because if you're not doing what is the appropriate thing to do, then how many years you spend doesn't really matter. So Baba tells us that we should be very firm on the first lesson. And the first lesson is, I am a soul and I have to be soul conscious. Now, what does it mean to be soul conscious? So you see that Baba tells us that this body is the eyes, the ears, the nose, the tongue, the mouth, the sense, the organs of the body, they are all parts of the body. But I, the soul, am operating this body. I am the one doing everything through this body. And Baba tells us that right now, I, the soul, have original sanskars and acquired sanskars also. Because Baba has given us the knowledge that the soul becomes impure and the soul has pure sanskars and impure sanskars both at this point. And we must understand that our experience of life is not based on our physical context. It is based on the quality of our sanskars. So, it is not what you see through the eyes that disturbs you, it is your sanskar which disturbs you, because the sanskar colors how you see through the eyes. So, this is something that is very important to understand, because whatever the sense organs are perceiving or whatever is the physical context is actually immaterial. So, the one who is operating through this body is the soul, and I am the one seeing, hearing, talking, tasting, and I am doing that in accordance with my sanskar. And whatever experience I have, good, bad, sweet, bitter, happiness, sorrow, that's because of my sanskar, not because of my physical reality. So, when we understand this, then you become the master of your life, and you switch from being a slave of your life to being the master of your life, because now you understand that it is not the physical context, it is not my life circumstances that are giving me a bad experience of life. It is my inner sanskars that are giving me this bitter experience of life. And when you understand this, then you understand that I have full power and I am fully capable of changing my sanskars through Raj Yoga. So the more I see myself in my original sanskars, and the more I remember Baba, who is the ocean of virtues and powers, I will be colored by his company and change my sanskars, and hence the experience of my life. So this is the first thing that Baba tells us about soul consciousness. So do you practice soul consciousness enough to arrive at this stage where you understand that nothing in the outer world is disturbing me? It is my sanskars. Yes. Let me tell you one thing. So, there was this one sister, and she once shared something very nice with me. She said that every time, so she said that I have a sister-in-law, and that sister-in-law is unmarried, and when we live in the house together, so she always keeps commenting at me about everything. So whatever I do, even if I make rotis, she will comment. Even if I do something else, she will pass a comment. So she said that my life is hell, and I just wish she gets married and she goes away, and then she doesn't disturb us. And then she kept wishing that for 5 years, but that sister-in-law didn't get married. And then slowly, gradually, it started becoming a very big problem, and the fights in the house started increasing, and they were almost at the verge of a divorce. And then she told her in-laws also that either you marry this girl or leave her or whatever, or I will leave the house. And then she came into Gyan. So after she came into Gyan, when she described the whole situation, I asked her, so do you feel, is she the first one who you feel passes a comment on you? Is she the first person to pass a comment on you in this life? So she said, no, there was a teacher also in school, and then there was also this, this roommate of mine in the hostel, and they were also like her. So I said, so in every phase of your life, you've had somebody who you feel passes a comment at you. So she said, yes, but not everybody. It's always one person. So it's always in the school also, all teachers were good to me. Only this one teacher. And then in the hostel also, it was this one roommate, not everybody else. So then I told her, you see, it's your sanskar to get offended, to feel offended at everything. So she said, no, it's not my sanskar, because sister, if it was my sanskar, then it would be there with everybody, right? So I would start feeling offended by every teacher, or with every roommate, or with other people around. But why is it with only this one person? Because I told her that because you when there is a sanskar, you see, it doesn't get triggered by everybody. One person at one time is enough. So you are feeling, so you see, when you are getting offended by one person, your mind and buddhi have enough work. So you keep busy with that one. Now when that one person leaves, then what you will do is you will search another one, and that sanskar will get active there. And have you seen that when you live in one family, right, then you fight. But when one member of the family goes away, then you fight with the others, and then when you meet that one person, you're very good to them. Yes, or when you live in a state, you find that all the members or some people in that state are a problem. But when you move to another state, the people from your state you find very loving, and you're fighting with others. And then in the country also you do that. And when you go abroad, you love all Indians, and then you are fighting with others. So you have a problem with others. So why this happens is because, you see, at one particular time you keep your mind and buddhi busy with the thoughts and the attention of one particular problem or one particular person. But that person or that thing is a good excuse to keep that sanskar fed. So that sanskar is being fed very well. So at that time you are not projecting that sanskar onto others. But once this person will leave, you will find another person. So this is the thing, you see. And sometimes we don't understand that this is my sanskar, because you keep feeding this idea also that if it was my sanskar, it would be with everybody. Yes, now let me tell you, I have seen instances where when the mother-in-law and the father-in-law are living together with the children, the daughter-in-law and the son, then the daughter-in-law and the mother-in-law will fight. But when the mother-in-law and the father-in-law leave, then the fight is between the husband and the wife. Then they both fight. So it's not like, so you see, if your sanskar is picking faults and fighting, then you will do that. But when the sanskar is being fed and satisfied in a different place, then you behave well in another place. But the thing is that sanskar is not overcome. And the sorrow of our life, so sometimes we say, everything in my life is good. There is just one problem. But if you have one problem, then what are you doing is, you are keeping your mind and buddhi busy with that one problem. So everything else is not a problem for you, because your sanskar, if the sanskar is to create sorrow, then you are creating enough sorrow with that one problem, so that sanskar is satisfied. So you are not creating problems with others. But if that one person or that one situation is not there, then you will pick others and create sorrow. So it is your sanskar that you need to change. It is not the circumstance. Sometimes you say, this one problem changes, this one situation changes, I don't have anything to ask for. But even if that changes, you ask for other things, because then another thing becomes a problem, because your sanskar is the same. That we must understand, because what we do generally is we keep feeding our ego that I'm very good and my sanskars don't have a problem, because we don't understand that we are feeding that sanskar enough, so it's not, spilling over to other things. So this is it. So Baba says that you are not troubled by situations or people or their behaviors. It is your sanskar that is the problem. And sanskars have a very good way of finding problems. So, even if there is no problem, your sanskar will find a problem. And, I'll give you one example. There was one sister, and she was a kanya, and she told me that I feel very good in the center, and at home there are many problems. So everything is problematic at home, and in the center everything is very good. So I said, okay, if you like to, you can spend one day in the center and see how it feels. And then she spent one day, and one day she felt okay. Then she said, can I come tomorrow also and spend the whole day? I said, okay. So she came the second day. Then the third day, I didn't see her very happy. So then I asked her, why you don't look that happy like you looked the first day? So is there a problem? Is there some problem with people living in the center, or is there anything you found not okay? So she said, no, but I felt very boring, like what do I do all day? So you people are on seva and I'm just meditating or reading or doing something or the other, but what will I do all day? So I felt very bored. And then, slowly, gradually, she, when she continued coming for some days, she started finding problems also. So first day it was, I am feeling bored. Second day it was, these things are not arranged properly. Third day it was, this sister was not talking properly to that sister. So you start seeing all these things. So I told her, you see, why I made you come every day for 10 days and spend time in the center, so that you realize that no place is perfect. This is why Baba says you have to be perfect, so that you find every place perfect. And if you're not, if you have defects inside, you will see defects outside. Yes, first you will see very harmless defects, then you will see bigger defects. But because there are defects inside, you will see defects outside. It is not about your home or about the center. It's not about one place being better than the other. It is about you being better than your older version. Now, if you become better, you will find that the place you live, your Lokik home is also a good place, and the center is also a good place. So then she asked me a very important question. She said, then why don't you, because you have good sanskars, so you've worked on your sanskars, so why don't you choose to live in your Lokik home if it's all the same? So I said, We choose to live in the center because in the center there is seva going on. We don't choose to live in the center because it's a better place. It's a place where there are more opportunities for seva, and we want to have a life of seva. So just like you go to office, if you are a software engineer, you will go to an office which gives you that platform to use your skill. Similarly, my aim is to be a spiritual server, so I choose to live in the center where there are more opportunities to do seva. It's not because you see there are no problems here, or there are no misunderstandings here, or everything is great and good. No, everything is great and good because you're working on your sanskar, and otherwise a center is a place for seva. So when I told her that, then she said, oh, so then I can't live in the center because now I'm not feeling like doing seva. Right now I'm only feeling like enjoying my life. So I said, yes, that you can decide later. So you see, why I'm sharing these things with you is because sometimes we keep telling ourselves that the world is a problem and they need correction, and every person that is in and around me, they need correction, but nobody needs correction. The one who needs correction is my sanskar, and sanskars will not change until you become soul conscious. So you see, if you're externalizing the problem and externalizing the solution, so the problem is inside, but you keep telling the problem is outside. Then what are you doing? You're solving the problem outside when the problem is actually inside. So even if you spend years together solving that problem, it's not going to get solved. I always narrate this story of a woman who was looking for a coin, and she was looking for that coin for quite some time, and then she was old, so other people also started helping her, and then that coin was not found. So everybody asked, where did you lose the coin? So she said, I lost it there. So they said, then why are you looking for it here when you lost it there? So she said, because here there's light, there it is dark, so I'm looking for it here. So you can't, so because you're unaware where the problem is, you are looking for the solution outside. But the problem can be solved only where it is created. So even if you try solving it outside all your life, it doesn't get solved. So Baba tells us, first thing first, be soul conscious, understand that it is my sanskar that is creating my experience of life, my worldview, my state of being, feeling, everything is dependent on my sanskar. And in order to change my sanskar, I have to draw light and might from Baba. I have to be in the company of the one who is of a different sanskar, of a pure sanskar. So this is one thing. Second thing Baba tells about soul consciousness is, the soul is imperishable and the body is perishable. So when you are body conscious, you think of yourself as perishable. You think of yourself as somebody who can die, and you cannot overcome the fear of death. And you see, every fear in life actually comes from the fear of death. Yes, and sometimes we don't understand that connection. Now, I will give you a very simple method to understand the connection between every fear that you have in life being associated with the fear of death. Now you see, whenever you have any fear, just keep asking yourself. So let's say you have a fear that, if I leave the house, then something will get stolen. Okay? then ask yourself, what if it gets stolen? Yes. And then what if that happens? Then what if that happens? And ultimately, you arrive at a point where you know that your fear is related to the fear of death. Because ultimately, if this gets stolen, then I am left with less. And then if you're left with less, then I have to survive with difficulty. And then if I survive with difficulty, then maybe, I'll not be able to perform better. And then ultimately, what happens is you die. So if you look at the worst possible in every situation, it is death. Right? And in my experience, you cannot make peace with the present problem or present unfavorable situation if you are not ready to accept the worst possible in that situation. And the worst possible is always death. Yes. So if you make peace with death, then you make peace with everything in life. Does that make sense to you? Are you getting it? That when you make peace with the idea of death, then you make peace with every difficult situation in life. Because ultimately, in every situation, the fear in that situation is connected to the ultimate fear of death. Yes, and how do you make peace with death? Only when you understand that I never die. Death is not a possibility for me because I am a soul. And there is no death, no loss for a soul. Do you understand? You cannot lose your body, and you cannot lose yourself. You can lose the body, but even that loss is not a loss because you will get a new body. And even if you lose whatever you acquired in this life, you will carry the sanskar and karma with you, and you will get in an equal measure, you will get everything in the next life. So as a soul, you can never die and you can never lose, because the soul will always have a context which is in consonance with its sanskar and karma. Yes, so even if somebody is very bad to you, very wrong to you, do you understand that you don't have anything because of that person? You have everything because of your karma and your sanskar. So you can't lose anything because somebody is angry with you. You will only lose because of your karma and sanskar. You cannot lose otherwise. And even if somebody snatches everything from you, you can build everything back again. Because you get everything depending on your karma and sanskar. And that is why when you understand that you are a soul, you overcome all fears, because for a soul there is no loss, no death. Yes, and then Baba has told us that body consciousness leads to ego and attachment, and all vices are associated with body consciousness. Yes, and when you understand you are a soul, then you can overcome your inferiority complexes, superiority complexes, which are both aspects of ego, and then you can overcome all the vices which are aspects of attachment. So what is lust? Attachment to other people and your own bodies. What is greed? Attachment to material possessions. What is ego? And what is attachment? Attachment to people. What is ego? Attachment to your own acquired traits and labels and positions and such stuff. So when you become soul conscious, you can overcome all these attachments, because when you are body conscious, you're weak. So you cling on to many things. When you become soul conscious and draw power from Baba, you become so powerful and full that you can let go of these attachments. So, just like you see, somebody who's walking with a crutch cannot give away his crutch if his legs don't have power and strength. Similarly, these attachments are like crutches that we hold on to when the soul is not powerful. But when the soul is powerful, you can give up those attachments. And I remember, you see, there was this one Mata, and she said that I have been in Gyan for 2-3 years, and I tried, going simply dressed in a family function. And when I went there, everybody was very judgmental. And when I looked into their eyes, I couldn't survive that. So I said, you see, we cover ourselves with this veil of ego because it's a weak soul inside. And you can only let go of that cover when you're powerful enough. And now, after 6 years in Gyan, she told me, now I don't mind, you see, anybody's judgment, anybody's eyes. I wear what I have to wear, and I'm always in my simple white clothes, and everybody loves me also because I think they know I don't care about anybody's opinion. Because you see, you cannot let go of lust, ego, attachment, greed, and consequent anger if you are not soul conscious and you're not taking power from Baba. And Baba says, I am the father of the soul, not the body. So if you are not soul conscious, you can't remember me. If you're body conscious, you will remember the father of the body. Only when you're soul conscious, you will remember me. Okay, Om Shanti.